Hey everyone, welcome to episode 69 of the Total Hockey Training Podcast. As always, I am your host, Sean Scahan. And just a friendly reminder that Train Heroic Total Hockey Training, my online platform, is rolling on a year-round basis, and we're still in the in-season phase. Postseason phase will happen in a couple weeks, and then we'll roll into our off-season. And it's always what I am doing with my athletes currently in my facilities here in Minnesota. So check that out. The link is in the description below. Also, the Total Hockey Training free online community is rolling. We have a great discussion going on training goalies right now. So you can check that out. That is for free, where I post workouts, I post content and all that stuff. And there is a discussion forum, which is fun. And I want to get into my next topic. And it's something that I wanted to discuss. I love doing these podcasts, and it was actually funny. I was at my son's hockey game on Sunday, and a gentleman approached me and said, "Hey, you're the podcaster." And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess I am." And that's pretty cool. So it's getting out there, which is great. And the topic I want to talk about today is parenting in hockey. Now, I must preface that I am not your perfect hockey parent. I've been there, done that with a lot of things over the years. A lot of things that you learn from as a parent. And I just want to discuss some of the things that I've seen or the things that I've learned from that I think that can help you as a parent of your young hockey player. Now, about me, I am a strength and conditioning coach. But I'm also a hockey parent. I have two young boys, 19 and 14. One of them plays college hockey, and one of them plays bantam hockey here in Minnesota. So I think I have some experience and some, I guess, kind of a platform to speak of some things, if that makes sense. So I want to get into that. And the main thing is, be a parent first. I think you have to be a parent and love your child. I mean, that's just a given, obviously, but whether they're good at hockey or not, that's beyond your control. Are there some things that you could do that are in your control to help them have success? Absolutely. You can definitely encourage proper nutrition, proper sleep habits, proper mindset, I guess. You can encourage that. You can encourage, getting them to practices, getting into workouts, getting into skills or skating coaches, whatever. That's what you can do. You can encourage that. There's no question. Whether that the child wants to do it or not, or has the enthusiasm and passion to do it, that's up to them. And so if you can encourage and let them decide internally if they're all in or not, that's all you can do as a parent. So, a couple things I want to go over. I think it's important that you encourage them to play other sports. Now, there's a ton of research or anecdotal evidence that multiple sport athletes, prior to them choosing hockey as their number one sport, are better. Why? I've covered this in numerous podcasts before. The ability to apply the skills from other sports into hockey and also to apply the skills learned in hockey into other sports, I think that's just a lifelong process, and it creates a it creates a diverse athlete who can do different things. And you can see it in the hockey games. You can see it with guys with great hand-eye coordination, speed, power, quickness, the ability to handle the puck in their feet, etc., etc. So I'm not going to beat that one to death. Encourage other sports and be supportive of all those, because maybe they might end up being better than they are at hockey in the long run, and that's okay. Encourage them to show up. Encourage them to attend practices, especially when they're on a team. attend workouts, especially when they're on a team. And like just to go off a little bit here, I struggle with, kids who don't show up to their team workouts in my facility. It's like, wait, where is so and so? Where is so and so? Oh, they have this, they have that. I get it. Church, no question. Go to church. Go to your other sport practice if you're playing a different sport. And now we're at a point now where like there's no every sport is not just one season now. So I get it. It's a tough landscape to navigate. We might have kids who miss a workout because they're at lacrosse practice during the hockey season. So all these sports overlap with each other. Not sure it's a good thing, but anyways, encourage them to go to workouts, go to practices, because you're part of the team. You are part of a team, and unless you're sick, unless you're going to church, unless it's a emergency, or sometimes you have to go to a practice for another sport, like attend workouts. Okay, so from a parental standpoint, while you're watching the game, and I'm guilty of this as well, I've definitely have learned a lot. Leave the refs alone. Leave the refs alone. Most of the time, they're young kids who are choosing to referee because they want to do it. And it's maybe they're passionate about wanting to become a referee. And they're not perfect. They're not perfect. I thought it was awesome a couple weeks ago. Parent was barking at a ref, and the ref asked the guy, "Hey, throw the skates on and come out and ref if you want." Like I thought that was pretty neat. It's tough. It's tough. Resist the urge to criticize the referees. I think that's important. And I am talking about hockey, but it's the same thing with baseball with umpires and football referees, basketball referees. I'd have a tough time with basketball referees because you just like you see the fouls that aren't fouls I don't know. I have a tough time with basketball. I think a lot of times there's too many stoppages of play. And what I think is important, and I'm guilty of this, resist the urge to contact the coach. And I remember starting in youth hockey with my oldest son, for example, there's a 48-hour period. I'm like, what is that? What is that? It's like, oh, you can't contact the coach at least 48 hours after the game. I'm like, okay. At the time, I didn't know that that was such a thing that people would contact the coach, but as you get into it a little bit, and there were times definitely earlier in my parental my parental, I guess, time frame that I wanted to contact the coach, and sometimes I did, and it was only because of see, like me, I'm not afraid to express my opinion. In being from the East Coast out here in Minnesota, sometimes that doesn't really go over too well, and so I've been guilty of contacting coaches. I've been guilty of only when and if they were parent coaches, meaning that their kid is on the team. And I would struggle with the fact of parent coaches playing their child more than others when they weren't too good. So I struggled with that when I was younger. Now I look back at it like it's no big deal. It was no big deal at all. But at the time, I get it. You're internally, it's killing you. They're like, hey, that kid shouldn't be out there at this time. We lost the game because of him, blah, 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 blah. But resist the urge. Believe me, I've been there, done that. It's not worth it. And honestly, I still struggle with this. I still struggle with this. Um, and I'm going to talk about my own kids. I have an older kid who's in college, and I think he should be playing more. Pretty simple. And I want to say what's going on, and maybe I do that sometimes to maybe his advisors or something like that. And you just want the best for your child, and you just have to just let it go. He'll figure it out. And it's interesting. I want to talk about definitely having two boys, and it's funny. I have this instinctive. I can tell when my younger son's playing with a kid who might be the oldest in his family. I can tell who his parents are. And I get it. I was there too. I was there too. And when you go through it with the first one, things are a lot different with the younger ones. They're a lot different. They're more laid back. It's just, and I do find myself. I was at my younger son's game last night. I did find myself talking to myself like, geez, what was that play? Or what are we doing? Or can we make a 5 foot pass? Blah, blah, blah. But I'm doing a better job of keeping it to myself, and I will have some kind of not outbursts, but I will maybe say something louder than I would like to. But yeah, it's I like to keep myself in check now with that stuff. And I'm definitely guilty of it when I was younger with my older guy. And it probably took me to like I want to say when he was like 11, 12, because um I was always, when I was living in California, you drive about 45 minutes to a rink, and you'd sit in the stands and shoot the shit with the parents while the kids were at practice. A lot of parents did that. But I think moving to Minnesota, and especially with at the time, my schedule working in the NHL, I wasn't able to go to practices. And then I realized, like, I don't need to go to practice. The rink was 5 minutes from the house. Drop them off, pick them up an hour later, and I still see parents at practices. Like, what are we trying to do? I think it's something that what I see sometimes is like it's like the kids are on the ice, they're having fun with their teammates, the coaches are coaching them, and like we want to try to control them like a remote control car. And I see it at games, like parents saying, shoot it, shoot it, shoot it, or like, let's go, little Jimmy, let's get her going, like from the stands. They're not listening. They're not paying attention. And they don't want to hear that. I think they're trying to shoot the puck, or their mind wants to shoot the puck. And if they don't need to hear it from mom and dad saying shoot the puck. And so, but I get it. I've been there at these games when it's intense. There's physical contact going on. It's fast, and maybe the goalie should have had that one, whatever. But you got to just kind of bite your tongue and enjoy the process. Again, I'm not perfect and I still struggle with this, but I definitely have learned from my oldest child. Okay. What I think is important too, and I got sucked into this. Ignore the clowns. Ignore the clowns. What does that mean? The people who are out there talking about rankings of players who are 11, 12 years old. Like, I was caught up in that. I wanted to see where my older guy was. I would probably buy the subscription for the service and have these absolute clowns talk about young kids. And it's still going on today with like there's guys whose job is to rank players, and it's like, how can one person or two people rank all of the players in North America, for example? Are you watching every game? Are you watching, or are you just cherry picking a tournament to go to and then seeing what's going on? And like, there's a lot of kids, for example, in Minnesota who may not be at these summer tournaments or these whatever showcases that are really good hockey players. And so they don't have the ability to see everybody. Now, is it it's I think it's quite easy to go out and see like the top kids in a specific age group. They show up. They're there. They're right there in front of you. You really can't like not see who the best players are. But I don't know. When I see things like the best players from the 2025 NHL draft, and like it's been a year and you're listing the top 200 players, you don't have the mental bandwidth capacity to see all these players. And so my thing is like it's just a money maker. They want you to pay for the service to see them talk about your kid. And whatever, it is a good way to make money. And you do have some parents that want to see that stuff, but again, it's not worth it. It's at the end of the day, it's not worth it. No, they might claim there are, but I don't think a lot of NCAA, NHL teams, major junior teams are reading this with full clarity. Teach your kid to be a good teammate. I think that's the most important thing. I think you can have a big impact on that. You can be, driving home in the car, be positive with your child, but when it comes down to like, hey, Johnny should have passed me that, or Jimmy should have made this save or that save. Like, try to keep it positive. They're teammates, and I remember someone saying, and they're not going to remember a game on a Wednesday night or a Tuesday night against some team. They're not going to remember that. What they're going to remember is the the fun that they had at the hockey tournaments. And it's fun. It's fun. It's fun for those kids. I remember going to Detroit Lakes, Minnesota, or Brainerd, Minnesota, or Duluth, Minnesota for the weekend and hanging out in the hotel and going to the meals. And they're not going to remember the hockey unless they win it. I think that's what I've learned, and that's what I've seen over the years. And support that. Support that. I think that's important. And lastly, I just want to say enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride because it's going to be over before you know it. And I get it. I get it. These games are like internally they're so important, and you're living in the present. You want your child to do the best that they can, and it's just take a step back sometimes and enjoy it. And I love the car advice, telling your child, "Hey, I love to watch you play." I think that's important. Again, part of this podcast for me was to kind of reflect on the mistakes that I've made as a parent and sometimes continue to make, but I'm always trying to center myself and get myself in the right position because your children have to live their own life, and as a parent, you can just support them and what they do. And I'm lucky that my boys like to train. They like to train. I think they enjoy training, and I think they enjoy hanging out with their dad during those workouts. And yeah, were there times when my older guy was a little bit younger and I would maybe tougher on him during the workouts? Yeah, I think so. But I think that has certainly changed in the last, I don't know, 7 years now, because he's pretty good at his training. And my younger guy is too. My younger guy, there hasn't been a push for him to train. I let him kind of decide when he wants to train. And do I get frustrated when he's like, I'm not going to work out today? Yeah, a little bit I am, but I'm also like, hey, he's going to figure it out. He likes other sports as well, and so it's all going to happen. It's what I think. What I say, what is going to happen is he's going to develop into the person he's supposed to be, and that's all that matters. It's you know the it's what I struggle with is when I see a 10-year-old kid on the ice and mom and dad are saying, "Oh, he's going to be the next Sidney Crosby." Well, no, he's not. I hate to say that. No, he's not. It's you can certainly encourage him to try to be the best that they can, but don't expect it. Don't expect it and just let it all happen. And so I also like the quote of all roads lead to beer league hockey. And I say that with due respect. I think because there's any former NHL guys who are playing beer league hockey. I think that's my point. So whether some people get there quicker than others, it doesn't matter because that's where you end up. And it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Hockey is a lifelong sport. What I like about it is you see more people playing adult hockey. I think from a biomechanical perspective, I'm going to get a little sciencey here, strength and conditioning wise, but you're going to see more people playing hockey that play the game because their feet don't hit the ground. You're able to not necessarily get hurt playing hockey as you would saying pickleball. Pickleball, for example. I'd love to see the injury numbers in adults with pickleball. I think it's awesome that people are playing it, but hockey's something you can go out there with a sore knee or a sore hip maybe and play versus pickleball because of the ground reaction stress. You might get a little bit injured. So, anyways, I wanted to just take the time to say thank you. I know some people are listening, and if you have any questions, please let me know. Again, I'm not the perfect hockey parent, but I think I can help encourage those to be better. Thanks a lot.